With the spaceship, with the reactors, with the cores, we showed you if you like to go with a donkey. Get sights here, you have all the time in the world, you want to get up, you want to go. It's your choice. You want to go fast, it's too far. You can take a jump budget and go through the dimension of the soul, but you have to understand. I told you, when I take man to space, I take him not a subordinate, but total knowledge is his choice. I'm not interested building factories and companies and whatever. I'm interested to take the man, but sometimes I have to bribe this little chap with some sweeties somewhere. Just to get him to the line that he can decide, and it's there. There is another flight system, but I introduce you to carbon 14 dimension. There is a much, much faster way than this. But in time, when man educated, we teach more. But this is good enough. You're traveling millions of times, but the order of magnitude and the speed of light, the guy said he cannot travel. Now you understand how fast the knowledge is getting transferred. Most of it you do not understand because the comprehension of the totality is not there. But most of it, as I said, we teach through the voice, but the soul of the man for the others. And in the future, man will understand. If you don't forget and just make a pyramid and you forgot how it works, it's no good having a most advanced washing machine in the house when you lost the manual, you don't know how to operate it, huh? Keep the manual, learn the teachings, and then you decide. You can wash it with your hand, or you can put it in high speed clean. Just don't lose the manual, because suddenly say, oh, the guy said that 1,000 years ago. I hope it won't be that long for mankind. But I showed you how you can extend your life if you want to have 1,000 years just to mess around. And if you're like Arman, you want it yesterday. I have a patience, beyond patience. I could have told you just the first year, you would have never understood. You haven't managed even to make a spaceship except a couple of governments. Civilians have not managed, and you have more details, but they have a lot of budget, a bunch of people, reverse technology do it, but they still have that problem. Now, let's see, who builds the portal, the government or the mankind? A free man.
Next week we have the first free man or non-government launching of a spaceship for humans in the future. It's just a spaceship now, but the humans will be traveling in it shortly. It's the first time that a private company, this is SpaceX with Elon Musk, a private company is about to launch a rocket into space. Of course, that's the fire-breathing dragon type rockets that we see with the fire coming out the back, which
What is
is
it supposed to do?
what is it supposed to do?
Yeah.
Take humans to the moon or Mars, at least into space. Right now, they only have been using a government agency rockets, either from Russia or from the US or whatever. It's always been government agencies and NASA and so on involved. And now it's the first time it's a private company, SpaceX. So it's in a way the people are getting a little more control over that situation. Maybe the next step will be more from the population rather than the governments.
Good luck with his rocket going through the Van Allen radiation belt.
You're waiting, Rick?
For
John asked the question.
Oh, about the radiation Van Allen belts? Well, that's why they have aluminum hulls, for example, which dissipates the radiation when they go through that, and they simply don't have radio communication during that time. It's the way I understand it from the rocket technology thing. It's not that big a deal.
Didn't a NASA guy says we have never passed it?
That was part of the rumors of the not going to the moon thing. But anyway, there's a quote from Shine in the chat that came from, he says it came from Nikola Tesla, who said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists."
Oh, I called it the soul of the man. Now we know, Tesla, darling.
Yes. Doug mentions, are we then the pilots of our physicality as we are also pilots of the universe?
If you understand the totality, we can pilot anywhere. It's just us who's afraid of the reality.
David says, Mr. Keshe, when you talk about the speed of the soul of the Creator, is it matching the speed of our soul?
In essence, in inner sanctums, yes.
Dan mentions earlier, I'm not sure if this will make sense now, but 9CH3 is lymph blood energy.
Repeat yourself.
He says 9CH3 lymph blood energy, question mark. Dan sometimes has sort of broken English. It's a bit hard to decipher.
No, try.
If you want to say something about that, Dan, we can allow you to.
In so many ways, understanding the totality in all aspects, this is what we're trying to bring out. And this is the hardest part. Many of you will suffer with this till you understand. You gotta look at it. I was with a bunch of scientists, all PhDs, doctorates and postdoctorates and everything else. And after 5 hours of talking, the last minute before they leave, one said, "Now I understand. This is magnetic field has got nothing to do with the matter state." Now I understand why nothing fits into what I've been taught as a PhD and a doctorate. You have to understand is the limitation of the fields. Don't look at it in a matter state.
As soon as we're outside of the fields of the earth, then the whole thing of matter won't matter
If we
very
can
much.
create it on this planet, it'll matter too. You know, people make, they make these pools to create the dimensions, pressure field forces of the depth of the oceans experimentally, because they can't go that deep. They can replicate it by creating more pressure to test. Now we have the facility to test the space conditions, if you understand how to make the portholes. And I've given you other races less than these are already in space, but you lot men take too long. You're too slow coaches.
No, you take your time.
You know what the guy said? Do not keep your silence. I keep my silence. Or what do you say? Say now or hold your peace. I keep my peace because I am at peace. You got to understand. Every opportunity in different dimensions is given to man, as I said. You got a donkey, you got a motorbike, you're gonna go with a jumbo jet, you're gonna go with Mr. Moss, you want to go with the, what do you call it, NASA. You have all the options. Many of you tested but never understood. Maybe this time I can explain it somehow that it can be understood. Why does CH3 works with the body of the man?
Mr. Keshe, when we produce CH3, do we also produce carbon-14?
Fields of it, if you know what you're doing, well, you can extract it. But why does CH3 works with the body of the man and is so effective? Because the carbon and the hydrogens doesn't make necessarily 15, does it? In the mixture of it, some of them is 16, like oxygen, it holds on to and it just drains it. When you gravitate something to you, it means you give it energy to give it more to come to you. It's not a tow bar pulling it. You have to think in a plasmatic condition, where the stronger plasma gives to the weaker to make it balance and bring it to itself. You call it alkalineness. How much more can I teach? Oh my God, Armin, move. Maybe another way we call it gravitational magnetic field forces of the universe is around about carbon-14. Does that make sense to you? And depends where you're standing on the line. Is it passing you, or you're part of it? Are you in the middle of the river, or you got to the end when the lake is going nowhere? Or do you make that lake, that's the one where I want to stand? If you learn how to interact and create very much, oh my God, I'm going to open a door for those of you who understand. If you don't understand, I'm sorry. It's a game. Game is checkmate, as we call it. You remember this? You call it deuterium. Do you remember this? You call it carbon 14. You remember another chap who sat here? Do you remember I mentioned to you, if you have a deuterium, you can make anything in the universe. These have to be understood on the gravitational magnetic field flow of the fields of the universe, not matter state of the universe. Now, let's play a game. 7 times much stronger by order of magnitude. And you're sitting in the carousel of the universe. And your reactor is this. And a universal is this. Center pointed to the center of the universe. You can imagine what the speed you can travel in the speed of the universe in trying to pull you to it. Why do you give energy? Why do you become a lover? You give more than what you take. Because inside you, you can add to it. Inside you, you are part of the creator of the energy. If you are receiving 14 and you're giving 16, where does the 2 come? It comes from the inner essence of your existence. It means it's within you, it's within the structure of the soul of the man, it's the structure of the soul of the physicality of the man. Read, I keep on repeating it, read the front of the Keshe Foundations. We are here to serve and not to be served. When you serve, you give more, but where does it come as you receive that you can give more? Why the North Pole of this planet is warmer than the South? Because it's more energetic when it interacts with the fields of the universe. So it creates more heat, it's warmer. Where does that extra comes from? It means your inner sanctum has, it pulls in from the totality of the environment. What else? How much more can we teach? And why are you lot so slow? I can hear Armand breathing. Shall we call it a day? It's nearly 7:30. I've been teaching nearly
3.5.
12 hours in past 24 hours, maybe
Oh.
more. I've gone from one thing to another and one thing to another. I had to stand for somebody who wasn't there last night till about 2:30, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then I had to teach a bunch of scientists this morning, nearly 5 hours, and here 3.5 hours, and some yesterday I had to teach again to some others. But in the teachings we are moving right to the advanced levels on the verge of the breakthrough. But we just need a little bit more people to understand. We need to carry the governments with us at this stage, and they're boarding. Anything else, or shall we call it a day?
Well, I'm sure you're exhausted. You've been really putting out here, Mr. Kesh.
Mr. Cash,
And-
it's 6:30. It's not 7:30. You taught for 3.5 hours. It's 6:30.
This time around, but he's also talking about earlier today and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
Oh, are you back from Amazon?
Yes, I came back on Saturday.
Did you bring us some prana fish?
No, I ate prana. So I didn't bring any.
Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Mr.
And thank you. And Happy New Year to our Chinese listeners and Chinese Keshe Foundation team. And we'll see what the new year brings. We are all in a new year. The Christians, now the Chinese, and next month the Iranians. Why don't we always celebrate all the time? Forget about all these things, that is something bad happened.
Mr. Kesh, there was one thing that was just brought to my attention by Pete about the paper from Radai. Would you like to hear that today or have that next week?
What is that?
The one that Shandor will translate regarding the cucumber and tomatoes, agricultural.
Yeah, if you want to, why not? I'm sending you something very interesting, Rick. In the future, we'll talk about it. It's on your secure line. Very, very interesting. Most probably some of you have already seen it. But it's very interesting for those of you who haven't seen it. Then we'll explain something very, very interesting in the future with it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This is coming to you now. I hope.
Yeah, I see it there.
What do you see?
About earthquakes, you mean? Or is
No.
that?
That's no. I don't know. Somebody has got to tell that to Armin. I'm keeping out of that discussion.
Okay, that's a different. Sorry,
that's a different. Okay, you received this one on your. You received this on your. Where are you? Okay, you're there. This is very interesting because I'll come back later on to it in part of the teaching. But it's good to have it as a reference point. Some of you might have seen this, and in so many ways, it's not exclusive of mankind, and it's very, very strange. I mean, seeing it. Have you received it?
Yeah, I got that picture. Do you want me to show that? Is that the thing? Or?
Yeah, I'll send you 2 pictures. Very interesting. If it needs editing, edit it. I don't know what you received.
Well, it has some Chinese markings on it that are from somewhere in China. I'm not sure where the picture came from, or if it's
Which one you received that way?
with the snake.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll send you another one. Forget about it. I'll send you this one. I think this doesn't have it. But it's very, very interesting in how we open our eyes to different dimensions. Ooh, no. I don't know that. You know, it just shows I'm totally...
Careful the buttons you push.
Well, there it goes. This one is a quick one. There. Here we are. I'll send you a new one with no writing on it.
Let me just get that.
You have a green one and a red one, yeah?
Green one.
I'll send you another one, a green one.
Just see the red one.
Okay, a green one is on its way. You can share one at a time.
You just have to find a way to get them off of here. There we go. Second here.
Is it coming up?
Just checking my folder. Yes, okay. So you want the green one or the red one first?
Either one. It's just something.
This is the red one. And maybe I can put both on, actually on the desktop here. Okay, share. So we have the image of a double-headed snake on the left. That's what you wanted to present.
Yes, yes, yes.
And there's another small animal there, like is that the food for the snake, or is it? I'm not sure what the relationship. It looks like a little hamster or something.
Pardon?
That's with the
Yeah.
snake there. What is that animal that's with the snake? And what's
Invite for the dinner.
This one eating that on.
And we have the double-headed turtle with the right-hand picture.
Yes.
So what else would you like to say about that, Mr. Kesh?
You see how even animals have two heads, two souls?
Okay, I've got Radai is ready to present when you're ready, Mr. Kesh.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, if Pete and or Shandor could help out and we could make that presentation ready.
You might want to promote him to panelist to allow him sharing his screen.
I believe I did already, but I'll try again.
I'm promoted. Can I sharing?
Yes, please.
Good day for all.
Yes, hello, and is it Radai? Radai?
Yes, Radi is a Russian name. Radi, okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I want to share my screen.
Yeah, you just asked for remote control there, and I said yes, but I didn't. You didn't want to control my screen. You want to control your screen, actually. So I did it incorrectly. There you go. Yes, now we see yours.
Yes, thank you very much. I will continue in Romanian, but my English is very, very bad. I studying English, but myself and not in school. Sandor will help me for this reason. Bună ziua pentru toți, mă numesc Radu Babanu.
Good day to all, my name is Radu Babanu.
Eu trăiesc în Republica Moldova, o mică și frumoasă țară între Ucraina și România.
I live in Moldavian Republic, a little and beautiful country between Romania and Ukraine.
Știința plasmatică o studiez de 2 ani, în mod practic, am făcut gansuri, nanocoating, deci mă interesează și timp de 2 ani deja studiez de sine stătător.
I have been studying the plasma science since 2 years. I did nanocoating of materials, I made ganses, plasma waters, so I'm studying on my own.
Da. Deci am obținut destul de bune rezultate în privința însănătoșirii a mele, în familie și între prieteni. Și am hotărât să... Da, spune, Sandor.
Fragmente mai scurte sunt mai ușoare. I have obtained good results in improving the health of family members and friends.
Da, și anul trecut, deci în 2018, am hotărât să fac un experiment agriculturic.
And last year, in 2018, I decided to do an agricultural experiment.
Da, eu trăiesc în Tiraspol și nu am teren mare, deci lângă casă am doar 2 mici terenuri foarte nefavorabile.
I live in Tiraspol city and I have a very little terrain for gardening, 2 very small lots, and the soil is not proper for good gardening.
Un teren, cum puteți vedea, este chiar lângă, situat de-a lungul gardului, 6 metri lungime și doar
Pardon.
Bune, da. Deci 6 metri lungime și 40 cm lățime, cu sol foarte puțin.
One little terrain is near the fence. It has 6 meters length and 40 centimeters width, as you can see. It's just the portion, the area near to the fence. And the soil is very poor.
Al doilea teren este situat între 4 pereți în spatele casei, unde este foarte întuneric și tot sol puțin.
The next terrain is in the back of the house. It's again with very small surface, very little light, and very poor soil.
Orice încercare de a cultiva ceva pe aceste locuri nu a avut succes anii precedenți niciodată.
In the previous years, I never had successful results in any trial of putting any kind of plants in those little terrains.
Și am hotărât să încerc să văd, oare va ajuta plasma în așa condiții foarte grele.
So I decided to test will plasma help in such difficult conditions.
Da. Anul trecut, 2018, pe data de 12 aprilie, am plantat roșii cu tulpină înaltă și cu tulpină joasă. Deci pe două.
Last year, in April 2018, I tried to plant two kinds of tomatoes, one with a shorter height and the other a taller height, two kinds of tomatoes.
Nu am fost sigur că vor supraviețui răsada. Deci am cumpărat răsada foarte devreme, mai devreme decât oricine. Nu se plantează în acest Sandor Sălămuriș, că e prea devreme. Deci la sfârșitul lui aprilie, începutul lui mai doar se plantează la noi. Noi am plantat pe 12 aprilie și nu eram sigur că va supraviețui răsadul.
I bought the seedlings very early and I wasn't sure that by 12th of April, when I put them out, the seedlings will start growing and will maintain life. Because in our area, usually we put out the seedlings around the end of April, beginning of May. And it was at a very early date in 12th of April, when the weather was not favorable.
Yes. După 4 săptămâni, am fost foarte bucuroși să vedem că tot răsadul a supraviețuit și înflorește.
In 4 weeks, we have been very pleasantly surprised and very happy to see that all the seedlings survived and they were growing.
Da. Deci nu am lămurit. Acum am să lămuresc. Deci
So what I didn't clarify earlier, I will clarify now.
Deci pentru tratare plasmatică am folosit gans cu câmpuri de magneziu preparat din preparatul Asparcam. Cum puteți citi pe ecran?
For the plasma waters, I use GANs which contained, besides of CO2, also magnesium and potassium. And the source of magnesium and potassium was from some pills from the pharmacy named Asparcam. Similar pills are available in different countries under different brand names. They are usually given for heart. It's a potassium aspartate and magnesium aspartate.
Yes, yes. Cost few cents. It's very little cost. Deci, în acest mix de gansuri am adăugat aminoacid puțin din reactorul de CO2.
In this GANS mix, I added a little amino acid extracted from the CO2 plasmatic reactor.
Da. Și după ce am pus toate acestea într-o butelie mai mare pentru a avea mai multă plasmă, am adăugat și puțin CHP GANS pentru energie.
So then I put these gases into a bottle of 6 liters and I added also 5 milliliters of CH3 GANS in order to provide some energy.
Yes. Tratarea am făcut-o așa. Deci prima săptămână am stropit cu această lichidă plasmă cu soluții.
So regarding the plasma treatment, first week I used this plasma water or solution of liquid plasma of CO2, which I sprayed on the surface of the plants.
Era CO2, fiindcă restul gansului nu era gata. Deci până se pregătea celălalt gans, era numai CO2 prima săptămână.
I used only CO2 because that was already available. Meanwhile, the other gas that with magnesium and potassium was under preparing, so it was not yet ready in the first week. In the first week, I used whatever was available. It was just CO2.
În perioada următoare am stropit, deci am spreiat, am pulverizat apă plasmatică, deci soluție de apă plasmatică de 10-15%, deja cu tot mixul de gansuri care l-am obținut.
Next weeks, I sprayed the plants with plasma water of a mixture of all gases, CH3, CO2, magnesium, potassium, and amino acids.
În afară de asta, după o perioadă, acum, după o săptămână, două, deci mi-a venit ideea să mai plasez și niște capsule cu plasmă lichidă între plante. Pot să arăt cum.
Later, I had the idea to place some capsules filled with plasma water in between the seedlings, between the plants, like you can see in the picture.
Yes, here on the terrain, și am pus și mai sus ca să se vadă. O secundă, am să găsesc unde este. Da, de exemplu.
Also on the top you can see, if it's not moving, yes, you can see on the fence, on the pole, another.
Da, le-am pus la o distanță de la 1,5 metru până la 3 metri ca să fie interacțiune între capsule.
I placed these jars at about 1.5 to 3 meters in order to create an interaction in between them.
Da. Deci am măsurat pe parcursul vegetației, deci toată perioada, am măsurat, am făcut fotografii și am observat, deci în linii generale, am fost foarte uimiți. Te rog să traduci.
During this experiment, I made photos, and we have been surprised of the results.
Yes. După 4 săptămâni, cum puteți vedea, deci
as you can see, after 4 weeks,
toată plantația a supraviețuit, deci roșiile au supraviețuit.
All the tomato seedlings survived well.
Și arătau foarte, foarte frumoase.
And they were very, very beautiful.
Pe ambele parcele, pe ambele loturi. Deci, prima
on both terrains, the tomatoes were beautiful.
Da. Acestea sunt fotografii din 10-14 mai.
This is photo from 14th of May, 2018. So it's about 4 weeks after, 4 or 5 weeks after the placement of the seedlings.
Într-adevăr, condițiile erau destul de grele și am plantat și cucumber. Da.
Conditions were very difficult, and in the same time, I planted some cucumbers, as you can see in this picture.
Da. Și castraveții am plantat în două prima dată tot în 12 aprilie și mai târziu, la sfârșitul aprilie, am sădit și semințe tratate cu plasmă de CO2.
So originally we put the seedlings with cucumbers. We planted the seedlings of cucumbers on 12th of April, And later, at the beginning of May, we also put out some seeds, which we pre-treated with GANs. You can see here the result of the seeds within less than 2 weeks.
Deci toate semințele, aproape toate semințele, deci au ieșit foarte multe semințe, au ieșit și au ocupat foarte mult spațiu, deci nu mă așteptam că o să iasă așa atât de multe.
Many or almost all the seeds started to grow, exceeding my expectations.
Yes. Prima roadă, deci primii castraveți care au fost gata deja, deci de calitate nutritivă, bună, frumoasă pentru masă, au fost gata pe data de 29 mai.
The first cucumbers ready to be consumed were ready grown by 29th of May.
Da.
Which is about 6 weeks only.
Da, acesta este foarte devreme pentru zona noastră.
Which is very early for our climate, for our region.
La fel, au crescut foarte intens și tomatele. Deci,
very intensively, the tomatoes have grown very intensively, beautifully.
Frunzele au crescut extrem de mari, foarte mari, nu mă așteptam. Deci n-am mai văzut așa frunze mari la tomate.
The tomato leaves have grown at huge sizes, which I never have seen before at any tomatoes.
Vreau să menționez aparte că nu am folosit niciun fel de chimicate, îngrășământ sau booster, absolut nimic, doar plasmă.
I'd like to emphasize here that I never used here any kind of fertilizer, any kind of chemicals, any kind of plant growth booster. I only used the plasma water.
Only, exact. Prima roadă, deci primele roșii care am primit deja gata, bune pentru comestibile, da, deci erau la sfârșitul lui iunie, deci undeva a doua jumătate lui iunie.
The first edible ripe tomatoes were ready in the second half of June.
O secundă, da. Deci putem vedea că la începutul lui iunie deja erau destul de mari tomatele și au crescut cât soție de mari.
You see, in June 7th, the tomatoes have grown almost as tall as my wife.
Yes. O secundă să găsesc. Am vrut să arăt, da, cam așa arată densitatea, că printre frunze nu prea se vedea, da, cam așa arată densitatea.
I was seeking for a photo to show the density of the tomatoes, because from the other photos you could not see the fruit due to the leaves. So this photo shows the density of the tomatoes.
Deci, pentru așa o situație, deci o condiție, este foarte bine, fiindcă ziua era foarte cald, putem vedea cum se veștezeau frunzele, cu toate că era umezeală destulă.
You see the conditions in May, on the daytime it was very hot, very warm weather. You see the leaves were wilting.
Cu toate că era foarte, nu era uscat, era umezeală.
It was enough humidity, yet because of the heat, the leaves were wilting.
Lângă perete, aici, unde era peretele,
here near to the wall,
temperatura ziua ajungea până la 50 de grade.
Temperature in the daytime reached up to 50 centigrades.
Yes. Cu toate acestea, după ce am început să strângem roada,
Later, we started to harvest.
da, de la începutul undeva lui iulie până în octombrie,
From beginning of June, iunie sau iulie?
iulie, la începutul lui iulie a început roada regulată a tomatelor.
We started to regularly harvest tomatoes from the beginning of July till the end of October.
Yes. Roada a satisfăcut toate cerințele familiei mele în tomate și castraveți. Nu am cumpărat absolut niciun kilogram.
The harvested cucumbers and tomatoes satisfied completely the needs of our family. I never needed to buy any single tomato or cucumber from the market.
Da, aici, de exemplu, putem, pentru 7 iunie, da, putem vedea că sunt câteva etaje de tomate. Pe câte
7th of June, you can see several stories or several levels of tomatoes. There down, there are 7 pieces, for instance.
Da, pe fiecare inflorescență erau minimum 5-6 până la 9.
On each bunch, there were minimum 5-6 pieces and maximum 9.
Yes. Toată perioada de vegetație, plantele arătau foarte, foarte, foarte viabile, foarte vii și fericite.
During all this vegetation time, the plants were looking very beautiful, very alive, and really very happy.
Insecte dăunătoare care să dăuneze, deci au fost foarte puține și în practic activitatea lor nu a dăunat absolut nimic.
There have been very few bugs and they didn't really damage anything there. Their damage was minimal.
Da. Aș vrea să menționez că aici s-a format o biocenoză unde erau și insecte prădătoare care mențineau activitatea insectelor dăunătoare ca minim. Înțeles, Sandor, ce am spus, da? Sandor?
Sorry, I was muted. So biocenosis have been formed in that place. An ecosystem, like a small ecosystem. But biocenosis, it's another term which was coined by Carl Möbius in 1877. It's a group of interacting organisms living together in a habitat, in a biotop. A kind of ecosystem have been formed here.
Vezi, o călugăriță care este prădătoare stă și așteaptă și am filmat-o, da? Se vede?
You see here an interesting insect. It's a praying mantis.
Yes. Și exact între tomatele acestea.
You see that prayer mantis in the middle of these tomatoes.
Da, nu am folosit niciun fel de pesticide sau antiinsectante pentru a proteja plantele de insecte dăunătoare.
I did not use any kind of insecticides or any kind of chemicals to protect the plants from the insects.
Da, a fost deci terenul în spațiul nostru este infectat de pseudoperonosporoză. Nu este problemă doar la noi în grădină, este oriunde.
In our area there is an infection of pseudoperonosporosis. It's not just for our garden, but for the entire area.
Da. Necătând la aceasta, deci infectat a fost practic doar castraveții.
only the cucumbers have been infected.
Dar necătând la aceasta prosperau și au ocupat tot spațiul disponibil.
But in spite of that, you see, the cucumber occupied all the available space and it was still flourishing.
Da, eu am înălțime de aproape 2 metri și vedeți cât de înalt este săcățărat pe casă.
My body height is 2 meters, and you see on this photo how high is the top cucumber near to the roof of the house. So you have to know Radi Babanu is really a very tall gentleman.
Yes.
I am also 6 feet. I am 6 feet tall, and when we met personally first time, I had to turn my face to the sky when I shake his hand.
Da. Pentru a arăta cât de bine, deci cum s-au răspândit castraveții, deci pe terenul acesta care este destul de întunecat, deci asta este inițial, da? Deci de 4 părți.
Nu schimba, te rog, poza. Înapoi.
O secundă, aici.
So you can see here how the cucumber expanded here on all the area.
Locul este foarte întunecos, este situat între 4 pereți și doar câteva ore acolo este lumina soarelui.
The place is much in the shadow, so there is very little sunshine and only for a couple of hours every day. It's something between 4 walls. It's a dark place.
Deci roada de aici, din acest loc, a castraveților de pe acest teren, la fel a satisfăcut absolut toate necesitățile în timp de vară, ba mai mult decât atât, soția a făcut și a conservat pentru iarnă, murat.
So in spite of that unfavorable place, we had plenty of harvest, enough for the whole family in the summertime, and also wife was able to make also pickles for the winter from those cucumbers.
Yes, și cucumbers și roșii.
Both cucumbers and tomatoes, green tomatoes.
Yes. Perioada de vegetație a durat până la sfârșitul lui octombrie.
The vegetation period extended till the end of October.
Da. În octombrie am avut încă roșii coapte.
In October, we still had ripe tomatoes, as you can see here. End of October.
Yes. O secundă. Și au crescut atât de mari încât au rupt suporturile. Nu ne-am așteptat că o să cântărească atât de mult.
The tomatoes have grown so big that they have broken the supporting structure. We didn't expect that they will grow so big such a big size.
Acest mic filmuleț este făcut pe 19 octombrie anul trecut.
This little video is made on 19th of October last year.
Sunt foarte multe. Tot mai avem încă multe fructe coapte, cu toate că e frig afară deja.
In spite of it is cold outside, still we have a lot of ripe tomatoes, as you can see in this video.
Și vedeți, partea de sus a căzut jos, deci s-a răsturnat, s-a rupt.
You see the upper part has been torn and have fallen down because it broke the springs which we used to suspend them.
Este foarte masivă, crengile sunt groase, frunze multe.
The branches are massive, they are very heavy with a lot of leaves.
Să trag puțin mai înainte. Deci puteți vedea că tulpinile sunt.
You can see here the stems, how thick they are.
Sunt groase și puternice.
Very, very strong, very thick.
Deci aici este capsula cu gans.
Here is the capsule with guns, the small jar with guns water.
Și un fapt interesant, vița de vie de la vecin a întins o creangă spre acest gans.
What was very interesting, the grapevine from the neighbor extended the branch, coming closer to this gans.
Yes. Câteva, deci, a întins. Anume spre gans, nu în altă parte.
So the grapevine only extended branches toward the guns jars and not to other places.
La fel și puteți vedea cum deja, cu toate că au foarte multe frunze uscate, că e târziu, e 12 octombrie.
In 19 October you can see the cucumber, in spite of it has many dried leaves because it's a very late time of the year.
Dar este și roadă.
Yet still there are fruits to harvest, cucumbers to harvest.
Cu toate că e frig deja, dar sunt și flori.
And there are also flowers. The cucumber is still flowering in October when it's very cold outside. You see the yellow cucumber flowers.
Da. Oh, soția a mai găsit unul.
Сейчас я покажу, что она вот цветет. Давай, открывай.
Look how big.
Thank you very much. Perioada de vegetație a durat până au început înghețurile, temperaturile cu minus.
The vegetation period extended up to the time when the weather, the temperature became so cold that we had frost.
Yes.
When we had frost, it stopped.
What temperature is that?
0 centigrades and below 0. Below 0 centigrade.
How below?
Fahrenheit for Americans?
How below?
Minus 3, minus 5 grade.
Minus 3, minus 5 centigrades.
Da. Deci au murit și s-au uscat, s-au ofilit. Am strâns ultima roadă de roșii verzi pe 10 noiembrie.
The latest green tomatoes we harvested on 10th of November. So the temperature then was around minus 3, minus 6 or minus 26, minus 21 Fahrenheit.
Da. Până când temperaturile erau mai mult decât 0, toate plantele erau vii și normal trăiau, dar nu erau verzi, să zicem, fructele erau verzi, nu se coceau deja.
While the temperatures were above 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, then everything was alive and the plants were producing the harvest. Just they couldn't get ripe because of lack of enough sunshine.
Yes. Deci rezultatele la care am ajuns sunt, deci expuse pe ecran.
You can see on the screen the results.
Da. Pentru mine este foarte evident că în locul unde n-am mai reușit să produc ceva, să crească ceva pentru mine, într-un mod fantastic totul creștea ca în basm, ca într-o poveste.
To me, it was very obvious that we had a very good action of plasmatic field, that everything was growing like in the tales.
Da.
Like in fairy tales. It was an obvious result of the desired action of plasmatic field.
Deci, teren de control nu am avut, dar nici nu este nevoie, fiindcă controlul este punct de referință, sunt anii precedenți, când nu a crescut nimic acolo.
I had no control lot or a terrain for control, but it was not really needed because the control of the witness, it's the fact that in the past years nothing succeeded to be grown on that place.
Da. Încă una este, deci încă un rezultat este că câmpurile sunt disponibile chiar dacă le aducem spre plante prin diferite metode. Deci prima jumătate a experimentului am făcut cu spray, deci am pulverizat, iar a doua jumătate a experimentului nu am pulverizat practic deloc.
Another conclusion was that the plasmatic fields are available regardless to the method of distributing them, either by spraying as we did in the first part of the experiment, or just by placing jars with plasma water like we did in the second part of the experiment.
Da. Că plantele înfloreau până când era frig afară, deci umblam în haine de toamnă și era frig afară, dar plantele înfloreau, e ceva miraculos.
When in late fall it was very cold and we were walking with thick cloths, the plants were still blooming, which was like a wonder.
Asta înseamnă că plantele sunt în perioada de vegetație activă până condițiile devin absolut nedorite, da? Deci temperaturi joase sau sub minus.
So this means that the vegetation period extended up to the condition when it was something very strongly working against the plants like frost.
Da. Încă o observație a mea personală, deci am văzut că oricine vedea aceste plante devenea fericit și îi plăcea să le admire.
Another personal observation which I made was whenever somebody, does not matter who, have seen these plants, that person became very happy just by seeing these plants and these fruits of the plants.
Deci în fotografie este soție, deci o fotografie publicată pe Facebook de soția fiului meu. Deci
here is wife of my son, it's my niece photo which I published in July 3rd, and you see the happiness on her face.
Da. Deci o vedeți fericită dimineața ieșind să le vadă.
You see her happy in the morning. She just came out in the yard to enjoy and admire these plants.
Și ca concluzie, deci special vreau să mulțumesc domnul Cheșe pentru știința plasmatică.
As conclusion, I'd like first of all to thank very much to Mr. Miran Tavakolikes for this plasma science.
Dăruită cu mărinimie pentru omenire.
Which he kindly granted to the humanity.
Da. Și mulțumesc frumos grupului deci, de Plasma România, Cheșe Foundation România, care m-a ajutat mult în înțelegerea în genere acestei științe, și domnului Cacase Sandor, care acum este traducător, bunul meu prieten, pentru suport în înțelegerea cum se prepară gansurile special pentru plante sau transferuri de câmpuri.
So furthermore, I'd like to thanks to the Cash Technology Research Cash Foundation Romania Facebook group for inspiration and support, and to the translator who is speaking now for support and assistance in understanding the GANS preparation process and other details.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question? This is there are a couple of things. I brought this in discussion on Tuesday, and I'll bring it back up again, and I mentioned it last week. These are nice private tests you do, but those of you who do, or you do kind of agriculture, please bring the people from the agricultural committee, from groups, governmental groups, to monitor your work. We have come to the point that we have hundreds of thousands of people testing and showing, we see this, we know this, it's beautiful what you've done. But those of you who do tests, even a small test, try to get your local agricultural committees, groups involved just to observe.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, I know you done it in the back garden, but there are other people who do it in different scale, try to do different things. Try to get, or you have these pictures, you can go to your agricultural group, say, now I want you to give me I can show you this, what I've achieved, and you give me a land, or I get a piece of land, and I just use this, and you monitor. This can change our production, country, the rest of it.
Yes, Mr. Keshe, thank you very much. I have planned this for this year.
Yeah.
I have contacted a science group from institute here in Tiraspol.
Yeah.
Maybe, sorry for my English. Sandor, translate please. Deci, plănuim să facem niște cercetări pe loturi agriculturii, deci a institutului, în mai multe, deci grupe de control cum se cuvine.
We already contacted agricultural group from Tiraspol, and we are planning to do research on several lots of terrain this year.
Împreună cu savanții agriculturii din institut.
Together with scientists from the Agricultural Institute of Tiraspol.
Yes. Deci, pentru că deocamdată aici în Republica Moldova eu înțeleg că sunt deocamdată singur și mă stărui să aduc la atenția oamenilor, da, din cauză că există știința plasmatică care poate fi folosită.
I'm being in Moldavian Republic. I am alone who I am doing these plasma technologies, even though in experimental form, and I'm striving to make others, people who are involved in gardening and agriculture, to know that there is a plasma technology which can be used to improve their results.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question, please? Because when you grew these, and when it got cold, did the fruit frost?
A înghețat fructele atunci când era foarte rece.
Sandor, le-am cultivat chiar înainte de a îngheța. Deci am strâns toate fructele verzi și le-am pus într-un container în care înainte am făcut CO2 gans și era plasmatizat și acolo s-au copt de anul nou și coapte. Deci, ca răspuns la întrebarea domnului Keshe este că am cultivat, le-am strâns toate, deci nu știu dacă au înghețat.
I don't know because I harvested all the fruits before the big frost to arrive, and then I put all these into boxes which I use for making GANs, so in a plasmatic condition.
But how long did the vegetation stay green?
Deci au fost verzi până au înghețat. Deci au fost înghețuri până la -5.
They have been green until the temperature reached -5 centigrade, so they practically had frosted, or -5 Celsius or 23 Fahrenheit.
Da.
We seen the growth to -15, depending what mixture of GANs you use.
Maybe. I don't know. I
No,
tried
we
one.
have. We are growing now in -20.
Wow.
We're growing. It's a special mixture I've made. We are growing. We're literally growing wheat in the snow, and even under the snow they're growing. It's just no, because we tested. We sprayed. We watered strawberries and put them outside. They die. They freeze. But some plants, soft plants, maybe they don't do that. Maybe they do that. It's nice to see it, but it's try to. I know the Romanian team is very, very active, very busy with a lot of things, and we support them in every way. But try. It's nice what you've done. If you can get your governments involved, your people involved, it makes a lot of difference. It makes huge amount of difference.
Thank you very much. Here we have a special government. Republic of Moldova is a former USSR republic.
Governments are a special. There is no other special government, so you gotta find a way to work with them.
Yes,
we are pushing all our people supporters. Even if you do it in your gardens, get say, Afan, do you want to come and have a look? Can you make a record of it? The important thing is now we've been through this many times. It's done. What we are asking our Keshe Foundation supporters, if you do such a test like this, you have to measure how much, for example, water you use, what temperatures, how do you feel after eating it, how does the plant compare to somewhere else if you can grow it. You need a point of reference. Now these things we've done so much, it's nice to see. It's a beautiful presentation. But my request from the Keshe Foundation supporters is, for now that we're coming to the spring and we start the March, April seeding, or May and June, start asking people or organization, governmental organization, to come. You explain to them, I have such a thing. You give me a land, I test in your land, or I do it, you come and monitor. And this, what we are trying to build up is credible reference according to that. You see, we are all liars and frauds. Does not matter what we do, because we are now entering a condition that we are, as we say, touching their pocket. You got to understand.
Yes, I understand. This is the next step for me.
Yes, but I'm talking generally to all the Keshe Foundation supporters who do these things. We have a huge structure in what do you call it, in Australia, Jim and his team. But I think it's time to bring the governments in. Experimentally, we have shown it is done. We can show we can increase the harvest. But when we did a test recently on wheat and rice, we thousands of kilometers from where we are. We just provided material done by the agricultural groups without us. We just provided material in a specific thing. One of the first thing which came out, conditions, one of the scientists, whoever, said, oh, this must be GMO. And so everything we did, increasing the harvest, shortening the time, whatever we achieved suddenly hit a wall. Because one scientist said, this is a GMO. So now we put everything on a stop and we send all the material to be tested by the lab. And you know what the test result was? No GMO.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
So your GMO doesn't change. You see, we have from now on, the Keshe Foundation supporters, it's not just you, and I repeat again, is to gather certified evidence by involvement of your government. We have overcome the African pig disease. It's a massive achievement. Russia has lost for 11 years 10% of their pigs every year. Now, what we did, how we did, it's a breakthrough. But even is done by them, and we are talking about massive number of pigs, there is still a question mark. Now we have to do it in a clinical test. No problem. Keshe Foundation has broken through the African pig flu at a very, very fast way. And we haven't tested on one pig, we've tested on hundreds of pigs, given to us the opportunity to test. But even done that way, now it's effective. We want to test it on a control way. No problem. You give me the pig, I'll give you the pig back. But now we call governments and we call officials in to record it. It's very effective technology, but now in a way, why, if you understand, I start building the journal and we're putting more and more into the journal, that more and more is to build a structure that we are correct. It's your works. And try to correctly do it from the beginning, because now we did everything to prove, to help, to, we are excited, we found a new toy, we found a new solution. But now when you start even testing on a plant, some of you are testing yourself with the diseases. Go to the doctor and say, I want to register, this is what you're diagnosed, I want to come back in a few weeks and you test me. This is how we have to give. It's the same with everywhere, every test we do. We are trying to bring, now that we are at this stage, collecting data for international structure, not for nationals or individuals. It's the only way I ask the Keshe Foundation supporters around the world. Anything you test, even you try to make a toy which is different and it behaves different, you feel better, try to, from the beginning, not only do it yourself, but bring another organization independently, which is governmentally connected. Without the governmental connections, especially in agriculture, especially in health, especially in energy, you have no data. Now, this is becoming more and more obvious. They found another way to block. We are not the only one, they are doing it with everybody. We have to be, I keep on, especially since last week, I emphasized on the Universal Council meeting, the same. It's their job to monitor, to bring the credibility, to encourage the Keshe Foundation supporters to, I want to do a test on flowers, on the plants, find somebody who can come and say, this is going to have so much more. It'll take you a year. It'll take you 6 months. In China, when we did a test on wheat, and we only interfered for 27 days and we doubled the harvest, there was a big question mark. Every way was negativity. It cannot be this. But unfortunately we had to wait another few weeks before the rice came in and it was the same result, and the other harvest came in, it was the same result. So there was no error. Our team was attacked that we are, it's wrong, whatever. And then when the other test came, it's become the best meat in the market since the sliced God knows meat ever created. But we allowed the other people without us, officials, getting it stamped done, which brings credibility. And in a way, I'm turning the Keshe Foundation supporters to, we done the test, we had the time, we played the game, we all enjoyed it, we see it, it's beautiful what we see. Now it's time to become professional. From South America to Africa to Europe to Asia to Australia, hundreds of thousands of people are doing little things. Now we are building, structuring credibility by the international, and we've got our own journal because it's a plain raw material, in a way not interfered. And this is against the grain of the world operation at the moment. In a few months time, in a couple of years time, they will make anybody using GANs or nanomaterial or whatever, they try to make it a criminal offense, because it's not them, it's the people who pay them will do that. But we are working on a direction that this will not work. Especially in Romania, in Czech Republic, in France, in South America, in Africa. You believe in what you do, go to a government official. I can increase harvest this with the new technology. Country can be those, the farmers can be better, but we don't believe. Okay, you don't believe. I'm growing, you put somebody to check with me. And you sign my paper at the end that it's been done. And keep a very, very methodical check. How you watered it, how the temperature was. Now we are researchers. We are not there to prove the concept. We are there to spread the technology. We have proven the concept. And those of you who come and show, they used to come and call you, terrorize you and everything. These are past. Now we work in a different way. But respect your nation, respect your authority, bring them in to be, let them test the material, let them see the material, explain to them this is just the water, and whatever you do, whatever you use, but start as Keshe Foundation team, build credibility and send these documents to us. Get them to sign you that they've been there from the first day. Any communication on the telephone, on the mobiles with them, just keep, and then you can add it to your dossier. They'll come up with every excuse once the results are there, because you got to remember something very clearly. We were talking with some officials. Do you know our biggest problem in the governments is who now? Is the scientists themselves. Because it's not that they don't believe, is that most of the top scientists who advise the governments are paid by pharmaceutical and whatever people who supply the pharmacies or the, what do you call it, the agriculturists. Go back on we are not the first one who's been in this track, but we have the beauty of being a vertical system. We teach, we have the workshops, we have the factories, we have the research centers, we have the journal, we have everything else. One thing is, you're not alone. Over 100 million people practice, or been, or done. And we don't need to be all the time involved to do it. We only do it when we need it. You buy a pack of aspirin or paracetamol, not to eat it because you know you might, one day you might have a headache. You have it there that when you have a headache, you can use it. It's the same with this technology. You know how to make gases, you know how to, what effects there are. You want to test in agriculture, okay, test in agriculture. But it's the knowledge you carry for the rest of your life. And that's all it is. And now we are not saying that, okay, we're going to make all the aspirins and keep them. No, it's there. It's the free knowledge you carry with you. But try to bring a essence, a process that we need to understand. The new technologies are understood. We are not here to destroy the past. We are here to build on the past. We are not here to stop agriculturists or fertilizer companies. We are here to employ the factories who make the fertilizers to make a new system. Otherwise we do more damage, and we are not here to damage, we are here to build. And this comes out of us from now on, especially past 2 or 3 weeks, because we work with governments now to be correct, to build the structure. We are talking to a number of governments at the highest level to change agriculture, to show that nations can feed themselves. We can purify waters. We can change a lot of things. And at the same time, I was thinking last night after the teaching, we have many new students, and they come into Keshe Foundation KFSSI, and they get into people who talk about a lot of other things they don't know. They came here to learn the basic. I think the heads of the Keshe Foundation Education have to ask our students who come in, at what level do you want? We have 2, maybe 3 levels. You can start at the foundation base, you can start at this, and then give them studies in that level. At the moment we have a problem, and I see it in our education side, that anybody enrolls today come in and they're talking about the control of the fields and the soul and the things. The guy says, my God, I came here to learn, nothing is there, I have to go and read on my own. Our education side has to have that. We got to make our position clear. 3 ways. The ones who just come in, they want to learn the basic, we teach. The ones who are in the mid-read, and the ones who are very advanced to understand the other levels. And while you're doing it, try to document it legally. You know what they say? They say everything is fraud because you cannot do. And you saw what they did. They tried to make us a fraud. They did everything possible. Bunch of terrorists terrorizing the people in the scientific way. So we have to, now we passed that time of falling in love and you get hot, something new. Now the love affair we know we love. Now we have to make a home. And this is what, as a in a way, not as a head of the foundation, but as a founder of the technology, with all the benefits, beautiful fruits and everything you make, you test it with the cancer, you test it with diabetic and the rest of it, start getting people at the level of the government, scientific organization, to be witnessing. If they give you a land to test, of course. I bring the knowledge, you give me the seed and the land, I do it, and then you measure it. And then, but I want another land 100 meters away that you can test to see my difference. Always ask them for a reference point of growth. If I do here, you do there, but you don't use my water. You're 50 meters away, and you see what you get, I see what I get. In the next few days, we release one of the most powerful projects Keshe Foundation has done. With a full data, writing of the people who run it, because we are away, we could not be there. And we show how we have eradicated what they wrote to us They have tested it and they can confirm it. And within 24 hours, they start testing and they could not find it. Try, but we have documentation from them. They are part of the structure. The process is monitored by a professor from major university. We have it in his writing. He confirms that they tested the condition and is corrected that the virus is there, and they need the test. So two things: the professor has got it wrong, which they couldn't do because all the signs were there when we went there, and after 24 hours, 36 hours, they changed the situation. We have learned we only work as a provider of the technology. It's for them to do the testing. And this is important. Very, very important. And we have to start becoming professional. And this is what I said from last week. I had a very harsh on with the Universal Council people on Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, 2 Tuesdays ago, and they didn't like it, but I think they understood. It's for them to encourage you to come up with the data. It's there for to guide you to do everything properly from now on. The heat of the first love affair is gone. Now we want to solidify marriage, as we call it, to bring the technology in the world of existence, in the people that can follow. And we don't need to worry about anything because they are there, we are there, we know what we are doing, and let's build on it. Let's do it properly from now on. We have grown seeds. 5 years now we're teaching, and after 5 years we've seen everything. Fish growing double the size, cats eating more, pigs are eating more than ever before, wheat growing like a weed and everything else. But now it's time to put this big organization, start behaving as one nation. And for you to be as one nation, there'll be a lot of certification on Keshe Foundation technology on the plasma. And you know where they're going to ask for guidance? From us to draw up the parameters. Because they don't have it, they don't understand it, they just see a result. And if you noticed, I repeat it again, we used to make a lot of announcements in the past 4 or 5 weeks. We don't need to. Because we wanted to tell what we do. And every time we did, when they attacked us, they terrorized everybody. Now, we work with 10, 20 different countries. We work internally in the Keshe Foundation. We support, we give support, and we work as a team with all nations. Now they have to sit. If they hear something they try to do, we inform ahead the name of the terrorist. They already have it. Oh, this we are waiting for. We send them to the website to see this is what they're putting and who's putting it. Before we were getting stressed that they're putting this on us. No, we just send people now indirectly. And they're going on the list of the terrorism, one by one. Murder of scientists, murder of the assistants of the scientists. Evidence are all gathering. You know, we have not to glorify, we have to be correct. We're entering the 6th year. We can carry on for years showing what we do. We become a bunch of enthusiasts, but the way I work, the way I've asked the Universal Council to work, to ask the Keshe Foundation team to work, is from now on, we're becoming professional. You will understand very soon why. Very, very soon you understand why. And we are become professional because we are correct. We have enough documentation, we have enough evidence, we have enough other things to go with it. And in so many ways, I thank all of you for bringing your knowledge to humanity. You you put one seed down, you made a lot of cucumbers, you made a lot of tomatoes. But look at one thing. You wouldn't make that much tomatoes, you had to buy it outside. Not only you enjoyed you making it, but it brings you saving. Maybe meager, maybe a few pounds here, a few pounds there, but gradually the change is coming in. We have to become professional. And the professional is how we do. You're in Romania, get together. Romanian teams are working very effectively with your government. You're the same with some other countries. And these people don't listen anymore to nonsense. And we don't need, if you remember, I used to get stressed. Why not? We just passed. They can pedal. The Keshe Foundation is not one Maghreb system now. Now it's 1 billion square meter of land going on the operation in the next 2 years, testing the Keshe Foundation technology, and maybe more. Try to beat that. Hundreds of, in the next 2 or 3 years, the way we are structuring it, billions of square meters of land going under the control of using the new technology. You're not using any pesticide, you're not using any nitrite, the farming is fed up with it. You're not using any antibiotic with the animal because it gets into the food cycle, it gets spread on the land and it comes back again, we eat it, we don't have no control on antibiotic. All been solved. So get your governments with you. Work professionally with us. We are not interested not to help, we are not interested not to do the gardening, but you enjoyed it, you show it, teach it, show it, and with it, do it with the government, with officials. Because especially you can work two ways, with the low-level officials, which he will be never listened to, or you work on to find out who's on the top in agriculture, who his decision makes a decision. You make appointment there. You don't start usually to go, everybody catch up. Or we go to the little village one. By the time you get there, it's 5 years later, because they don't want to pass it on, because there's nothing in there for them. You go to the top guy. You have a problem feeding the nation. I have the solution. This is the Keshe Foundation. You give me the land, I'll show you. We have tested. Go directly for ministers. Go directly for agricultural ministry. We give you all the support. Keshe Foundation is getting a structure. That way we support all you directly with the agricultural ministries. Farming, fishing, and agriculture. That is grain, oil, fruit, fishery, animal care. We don't release any more documents in the domain of public. You establish the line with your government, we support you. We'll come in and we deliver documents for them to read. We put them in touch with the ministries, we put them in touch with the governments who have worked with us, they can confirm it, and we can go on. We are a governing organization, and all the governing organizations have terrorists to try to stop them. We've seen the bombing of 9/11, we've seen the bombings in cities around Europe, and these people try in a way to terrorize us. Don't get terrorized, you are very strong, and you got a bigger structure behind you, and we support you. But my advice to you is, don't go for little. Go sit down, study who is in one position in your governments, in agriculture, in what section, and then bring them in. Say, we have such a thing, but I do not know, I cannot go. But there is Mr. Keshe there, or there is this, They can support you. You just make an appointment, we come on the telephone call, we come on the video, we give them documents, we give them the evidence, we give them signed documents by ministries, by governments. They work with us. You done your job, and then we let you to work with them to show them how it's done. We start governing. We setting up a structure. We start changing the course for humanity. We have to be correct in our conduct. Keshe Foundation has changed from being small, doing things, be done enough. Now, everything we put, Universal Council, the core team, the what we call the Earth Council, now the education side, the magazines, the journals, the teachings, everything has started. We have start setting up a structure for governing the new technology, not the governments. With it, the government come with us. Go for the top, don't be afraid, I'm a little man. They adore you, you kiss your hand, you feed your nation, you take your peasants out of poverty into the line of a man can feed his child, can pay for education. You increase the income of your nation, you got to be proud. The little man always makes a very big difference. The big man is too busy being big, he doesn't want to do anything. He's already got big and he's robbed his nation. We have come into governing, and we are laying a very clear condition. We negotiate with governments because we have solution, not for a farmer, for the government who controls all the farming has to pay for it. It's the government who's got a pollution with the land. It's the government who has to sort out that pollution. And we are correct, we deliver, we share knowledge. The Keshe Foundation, in past few weeks, you've seen, we don't announce anything. We work very correct. We encourage you. Now we have moved into governing. You will understand more and more. We have some problems. It's like everybody else. But we are building it to get to where it is and start moving the direction we want. And I thank the whole of the Keshe Foundation team, the whole of Keshe Foundation worldwide who listen, you do things. Now it's time to move. We change course. We haven't changed course, we're going to the next step up. We have our own education system, we have our own farming system, we have our own health system, we have our own research places, we start manufacturing. You will understand very soon how we will manufacture. We have support of the governments with us, we have support of, most important thing, the grassroots. People like you who do these tests and then you take it next up. And we don't release names anymore because then you give a bait for them to help. How do you think they can do all the damage to themselves? Let them do it to themselves, not to us. We've changed the course in past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you've seen it. There is no discussion. We don't need to announce anything else. Because when you're at the point of a strength, you don't need to, you just govern. You just deliver. And we have changed, we start governing. Because we are strong, we're done, we are correct, and a lot of people try to play games, let them play. Don't waste your time, go for directly. They say, I have to go my live farm. No, you go and find the minister. In Romania they've done, they can tell you how successful it is. They have the problem to solve, and we have a solution for them to govern. And we stay friendly, we stay close, we deliver technologies. Nothing else. We are not bringing money, we are bringing new knowledge which can change. And we work with them, we support, we move with. It's not going to be, especially agriculture and health, it's not going to be tomorrow. It takes 1 year to get the harvest. We start now talking about it. The seed in March, April, we have to wait to October, September when it's harvested, then compare it to something else and then measure it. We went through all of it in the past year. The Keshe Foundation team in 2-3 countries, we've been through all of it, but we knew we have to do. Now we have the results, we can govern, we can work. And it's thanks to all of you. Thanks to people who understood what we can bring and they are supporting us to bring it in. I thank the government of China. The room they gave us to work, to show. A lot of people in China said, oh, Mr. Keshe is here. You didn't do the work because you did exactly what the gentleman showed us to. You made little things in your places. Such a technology with such a power has to be handled at the governmental level. And I'm strong enough to stand a year and a half to show step by step. It's not that the Chinese did anything wrong. I love living and working with the Chinese Keshe Foundations. A lot of them saw us, oh, the guys come here, you should have been there. No, because the Keshe Foundation supporters in China did not take it directly to the government. They did their test beautifully, they did a lot of exercises, but nobody took the technology into the hand of the government to say, we are here to make the change what we are doing. And it wasn't easy to get it. We've done the same thing with other governments now. Because we have data. It took us a year and a half to build on knowing the Keshe Foundation supporters in China were there, they've done a lot of work, but nobody went to. They expect the factory to be built. How are you going to get the certification? How are you going to get the permission to do? Now we have shown to the government, they help us, they set up the certification. I don't need, I've shown it can change. I've done the same in other countries. We are the only organization that we are not going to open. We tried to open factories and the rest of it, and all the shambles with it, ministers trying to steal from us, little people stealing money from the Keshe Foundation, all sorts of things. But now we go directly to the government. And you know the first thing I do with the government is, please go on this page, look at this gentleman is a terrorist, they call us a terrorist. It's try to do what it is. I send them first thing to read what's on the net. When they read, oh, we read about it, it's obvious bunch of terrorists are doing it. It's finished, so we start doing the business. Please go directly. You're a small man in the village, you take a big gift to your government, to your nation. Go there, says, I don't know, I've tested it, it works, but this is a telephone, address, email of the scientist, the group organization which can do it. And if you want, I'll monitor, I'll help you to get you the material. Governments are listening. And we start governing. We is the Keshe Foundation. We are governed to bring a better life for humanity. We are not governing here to become another lot, to have ministers or no. We are governing the soul of the man, to bring them freedom to be a man, can put his food, can bring clothing, education to his child. I tell you, just watch what's happening to Keshe Foundation. Then you understand how we start governing. We is all of us. And it's beautiful what I see, and I love working in China. I spend time here. My mission is more or less over. Now I hand over to the Chinese. I hand over to the Chinese community. We have a beautiful team here in China. I love working in China, I love living here, but my mission is over. I have done my work. Now we go to the next step. And it's thanks to the Chinese. Now they learn the way, they are doing it. The same thing is in Romania. Beautiful team in Romania is working correctly, exactly. We have the same thing happening in 2 or 3 other countries. The Iranians have gone the right way. In Sierra Leone we are going the right way. In Liberia, we're going that way. In Brazil, we're going total all the way. Now we are in university education. In Mexico, we're going to get. In America, we invest in American, what do you call it, nation. Because it has to be. They will need more the Keshe Foundation support than anybody else in the coming time. Because we learned, we have found that we can change with not talking and bannering. We have changed by doing. And we become very powerful because we are correct. You remember a lot of people who came, made a lot of noise and they disappeared? Keshe Foundation is still here because we always been correct. And now I ask you, please, don't be afraid. You're a little man in a village, but you tested and it works, or you're just a fisherman, you tested it works. Take it, go and see the government, not the little village, and say, this is what I can do. We don't have food to eat, our people are hungry, but there is things. Mr. Keshe is there and the team will come. They will show you, they explain to you. We send them. I've done that in past, and we are doing it in past few days, past 2 or 3 weeks. We are directly handling the governments. We send them the document. I don't give it to you on the internet. Give it to me. I go, no, you don't understand. You put in there. You don't know how to put. You get there. We'll support you. We can speak the language of the government. You're the ambassadors of peace. You're ambassadors of knowledge. Do your job. We do our job. We are organized now. We are organized to govern on the banner of knowledge, technology in exchange for wealth of a nation and peace. And I thank all of you because I have stepped down as head of foundation nearly over a year and a half now. And I had that freedom to promote the work of the foundation. All that daily grind of running the foundation is over because it's not my job. I'm a scientist. It's you who's done for you. You have a beautiful team. You have a beautiful management team. You have now moved out of to the next step, manufacturing team. And this freedom has given me the time of not being involved in daily running. You have a beautiful Romanian girl who's running the Keshe Foundation. You have a beautiful Moroccan French who's running the manufacturing handling. You have a beautiful woman who's running the Chinese Keshe Foundation. And all the rest of us around it. And it's giving me a chance to, that's why we are achieving. I'm back into research in a large scale, not getting involved, just monitoring and showing to governments. And the governments are listening. Because they see the result. And you get it to your governments, I'll come in with your governments. We show them. For me, it's just one email, massive amount of data information confirmed. They study it for a few days, we go back in, we deliver. That's how easy it is. No more doing a little village shop, take it out. I gave the same advice to Dr. Gatwa as the head of the agriculture. It's the responsibility of the Dr. Gatwa and the agriculture team to handle governments and teach people how to do it. And we come in, we give all the proof. And funny enough, if you are what they call a third world nation, if you are a country which has no financial backing to set up once they can see it, we have even organized finances to be given to a nation to build the factories for them. I live in a beautiful world where humanity understands when you care for them. And we have a beautiful nation behind us, the nation of government of Chinese. I love living in China. I enjoyed being here. But now we have the full backing, thanks to His Excellency President Xi and the government of China and the scientists, and especially Keshe Foundation in China. A lot of people said, oh, he's got here, he's waste time. No, we didn't waste time. You didn't do the work because you did what you could, you made the ganses. But I came here to show the technology to one of the largest nations in the world. I've done my job. And through it, we are supporting other nations. And with it, we have the backing of governments who will invest in your nations. I don't do it, it's not mine anymore. It's support, we deliver. In some cases, we can get agreement to financially support to build it for you. And this is all we need to do. Now we need to gather to govern, to change the course. You know, the beauty of it is millions of us. I never knew this gentleman. 8 years he's done a year work. What we see is a lot of love and care. Now he can show pictures, he can go, this is what I've done, this is what I've achieved. I want to do it in a bigger scale. And governments always listen to agriculture. I'll give you an example and I stop. And you can go and check. About 20-25 years ago, we had a lot of Asians in England. And Asians were bringing all the need, their foods continuously flowing in from Africa or from India. Anything, paprika, blah, blah, whatever it was. One Indian man went to the government and says, you know something, I can stop all this money going out and we make jobs in the country. They said, he said, give me the water, hot water coming in from the towers of the power stations. You let it go, you destroy it, give it to me. Give me money to build a greenhouse and I provide all the tomato, all the Asian foods which is needed, grown in England. He made sense to the government. They supported him. English hardly import any of these things anymore, even though Asian community has grown so big. Governments always listen to agriculture, especially now. Let us govern. We govern the heart and soul of the man, and through it, they come to it to enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. Is there anything else you'd like to speak about or announce or say before we...
We start making announcements. We are living it.
Yes.
We
Okay.
announced the marriage. They came and tried to ruin the marriage. Now the marriage is done. Now we're living it. The honeymoon time has started. Thank you very much for all your work, Rick, and all the Keshe Foundation management, the Chinese team, especially people like Fanzo, people like Ni, everybody else. Bit by bit, we've seen how people like Chow Chow, a little bit. We've seen people in Shenzhen, even they couldn't pull their process out. We try to help to assist. We see people like Shaojin and their teams. These people have a number of people behind them, backing them. And without you, it was impossible going through the past 18 months, what we established here. And without the people behind you and all the Keshe Foundation team who kept the Chinese aware and supported us, freely providing everything we needed unconditionally, telephone call and it's there. It was impossible to do it, it's not me, I'm just a facilitator. And in so many ways I'd like to thank all the work done in Kenya with Dr. Gatwa, the work which is getting done across the world. Arman is going reckless with what he's trying to achieve. You will understand very soon. He's put his life, even health in his danger because of it. But we all done the same to go. Thanks to John in Arizona. Without his support, it wouldn't be so easy to run the Keshe Foundation. They're all unsung heroes. Without Caroline, she's holding the boat while I'm just sailing everywhere trying to save the other things. The management team of the Keshe Foundation. Everything bits and bits has made the whole thing to structure solid. And it's hundreds of people involved. The team in Philippines has helped us to get where we are with all the things they've done, solidly there behind us. Renan and all the people who you see in the background, the team in Canada, the team in the United States, everywhere, especially in Mexico and Brazil now. There's a golden age coming up for Brazil. Opening of the universities to be taught the Keshe Foundation technology in universities, 3 of them. Training people to directly to apply the technology thanks to Claudia's hard work and whole of the what you call Brazilian team, the Universal Council member of the what do you call it, Portuguese language, the same with the Spanish. It's become a massive structure. We hear what's going on in Germany, the Keshe Foundation in Germany. It's a beautiful job they're doing in conjunction with the Austrians, the French, the Italians are at it. We have a financial problems because I could not look after one thing while we were establishing the bigger structure because that one thing was too vulnerable. Now we have fed the child is grown up, it can survive. Some of you seen how we suffered financially, but when I'm not there, I cannot be in 2 or 3 places. We have to work on it. Now it's finished. Everything is going through its process, but it's a teamwork, and this team is in every nation, every color, every race and religion, and that's what is to be one family, one nation. I'm not sentimental, but I've seen what has been achieved, and 6 years now in public domain, we have achieved where organizations takes tens of years to achieve, because we are committed to peace, we are committed to new technology, and it's come true. You will understand very soon. And we did not go slow. A lot of people tell me, you came to China, you wasted your time, you're wasting your time, Mr. Keshe, you didn't deliver. We've delivered so much, but you didn't know, we knew it's done. And as I said, having a solid team behind you who are there on call and they are devoted to what they do, it gives you the thing, what you call the belief and the integrity to carry on. Maybe next Thursday, maybe the Thursday after, I have some news for you. We don't make an announcement, is a step in the work of the Keshe Foundation. If you have developed anything which is radically new, please let us know. We invite you to international conferences which are taking place by Keshe Foundation. We are not announcing any more conferences, but we invite you to show it to the world leaders. We invite you to show it to world ambassadors. We invite you, could be anywhere, any continent, and it's for you to come and show. And don't be afraid. Be proud that you can change the course of humanity. A number of international conferences will be working on to be done, and it's not like before that all the Keshe Foundation supporters will come. We're bringing the governments to look, we're bringing the head of nations to look, and we're bringing to use the technology in exchange for peace. As I said, Happy New Year to Chinese Keshe Foundation and the Chinese nation. I love you being in China. I love being part of the Chinese team, and very much thanks to His Excellency President Xi of China, allowing the foundation to be tested and tested to be correct. In a nation like this, you cannot just do things without the permission from the people who are in charge in authorities, and they tested us in every way. We come out of it with a flying color, and I thank the administration, the Chinese security, and everybody who's been around us. Many people don't like us working with the Chinese government. They call it everything. But it's good for the nation and for humanity. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for that addition, Mr. Kesh. Very, very good. Okay, I think we are ready to wrap up today's workshop. Is there any other announcements that anyone else in our administration would like to say? I guess I would suggest people to have a look at the Plasma Times and the Plasma Scientific Journal entries and all of the interesting articles in that, which is now available at the Keshe Foundation website. And otherwise, you can look at our schedules to see what's up for the next public and private